Hello, and welcome back to the Victoria's Wool Podcast. I'm Victoria. I'm a knitwear designer living in the Puget Sound, Washington State. I just released a pattern a couple of days ago called Meridian Lines. Ta-da! And I wanted to talk about it today. This is episode 19. It is a square fingering weight shawl with lots of stripes. I used Purl Soho's linen quill, which is a blend of alpaca, linen, and wool. And you can especially see the linen in the Kettle black colorway because the little hairy bits of linen that stick up. You can see in real life the white and the linen in the white and the pink as well, but really stands out on camera, especially in black. So I used this yarn for really the first time this year. I knit a sweater. I knit the Goodie by Julie Hoover with it and really enjoyed working on a fingering weight sweater with that yarn, and I then turned right around and started knitting this. And when I was done with this, I thought, oh, I want to knit more. I just love this yarn so much. Some yarns, there's this thing, I don't quite know what to call it when you knit a piece, knit material, and when it's folded on itself, there's a lot of layers, it just has this quality to it. It's really nice and very thick, even though it's fingering weight. So you start, the construction of this shawl is you start in the corner, and then you increase on either side. Add these stripes in, and get really tidy edges on this guy because I used a technique where when you add the new color, you use for the second stitch on that row, first row with the new color, you use both your working yarn and its tail, and it just like anchors the yarn and gives it nice friction so that end isn't like wiggling around and basically making your edges really unyieldy and loose and messy looking. But they are so nice. I'm really happy with that worked out. And I filmed a tutorial on it, and a bunch of my testers commented that they really found the tutorial really useful, which is always great if you're going to film a tutorial that it's actually used. People actually watch it and that it was helpful, so I'm so glad that was the case. Okay, for everybody tidy edges. I did the whole thing in this 3-stripe pattern. It just made me really happy. And the texture of all the stripes is you've got a row of knits on the wrong side every fourth row, and it gives you this just really beautiful ridge. I wanted to make a shawl that had a really nice texture but didn't have, wasn't super complicated, and it wasn't going to be too much with the stripes. You know, when you add texture and color, sometimes it can be overwhelming and there's just too many details, or it could just be complicated to execute. And I wanted something simple and elegant and just also really fun, because with stripes, there's just an endless amount of color combinations you can do. Somebody asked me about, recommending choosing colors. These are the ones I had on hand. These are the ones that I thought looked really well together. They happen to be all neutrals, so if you want to do all neutrals on a version for yourself, that would work really well. The white and the pink do contrast nicely with the black, but not so much with each other, and that's okay because there is contrast on either side of the little stripes, and so it works really well. You could do, I've suggested to a few people that they pick a neutral main color and then a neutral contrasting color no, one, and they use their second contrasting color as like a really fun pop of color, like a yellow or a bright pink or something. My mom did hers is like a denim blue with a darker blue and then a pink, and it's really pretty. She really likes it. I do also really like the wrong side. You get the when you start with the new color, you get that little dotted look, and because the ends are so tidy, it looks really good. It would totally be reversible. You could wear on either side. Yeah, it's just like a totally different texture, but they're both great. There they are, kind of back to back. I then, I got interrupted myself, but the texture or the construction goes from the little bitty baby, and then you continue until it gets to its widest point. This is what the sides look like. And then you start to decrease. Something another tester commented on too is the way I wrote the decreases and increases. This is not something I was planning on talking about, but I feel really passionate about this particular thing, which is most people don't like knitting SSKs, the left slanting decrease, and that's supposed to pair well with knit two togethers, but they're not exactly the same. And knitters often think, I've asked this question, I've gone to an increase class. It was all about different kinds of increases and decreases. And I said, does it matter if you use an increase or a decrease on the side of something, like if you're doing what I did in this shawl is knit two together. If you're doing knit two together on the left side, will it change? Will it be bad? Will not work? And I think it was Andrea Rangel who said, give it a try, see what happens. Like, you don't know for sure unless you experiment. The answer is it's not a hard yes or a hard no that it will be a problem. You just have to give it a try. So in this shawl, when I decreased, I did knit two togethers on both sides. And one of my testers was like, just didn't feel comfortable. I wanted to do them, and I wanted to do the SSKs, which is totally fine. Doesn't matter. It's whatever is comfortable for you, whatever you enjoy. And most people don't like doing them, so I did the knit two togethers. The knit two togethers is symmetrical. And it was really fun to sort of defy that rule, because I know that it's not essential. It's just sort of our way of thinking that knitting has like absolutes, and it really doesn't. But yes, I was thinking about this week as I was finishing the pattern, whether or not I wanted to write a note in there about that. And I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. What else? The tassels. So I put a tassel on each corner. There are 4. They are mostly black. In the pattern, I tell you exactly how many wraps of each color to do if you want to sort of have this marled. Well, it's not even really a marled look because there are splotches of color, which I don't know if I plan to do it like that, or if I just did the first one and really liked it and tried to replicate it. It sort of has like a Cruella de Vil, like her hair, where you get these streaks of white. She's white on one side, I think. And I did more black than the contrasting colors. I just really like them. The double-headed thing. I kept seeing double-headed tassels online in photographs. I don't think I saw any on a hand knit. Maybe I did. I can't remember where I was seeing them a lot. The double-headed tassels, those are so cool. You'll see a tassel that has like a bead on the top and then the fringe is coming out of it. And I tried to find tutorials online of like, oh, is there like a way that someone will tell you how to do it? And I couldn't find anything, so I just experimented and figured it out. And these are the 4 that I made. I didn't even have like one that didn't work out. They all worked out really nicely. You just make the head like you normally would, pull the ends through, and then you take a separate piece of yarn and do it again a little bit further down. Hopefully equally lower, but these both are a little bit the second head's a little smaller. They definitely could use some finesse. Kind of like fringe when it detaches from your shawl a little bit. If you've ever made fringe on a shawl and you have to like finesse your fringe. Anyway, there are instructions for making these in the pattern. I didn't make a tutorial, but it's literally the same. You do the same actions for making the top one as you do for the bottom. And there is a tutorial on how to make tassels from Andrea Mowry that I included in the pattern because I feel like that tutorial is really great and I've used it before. Uses, I think, 900 yards of main color, and I can't remember how many yards, not as much, less than one skein of each contrasting color. One of the other things that always comes up during testing, and that I think about a lot about gauge, is that people always say, I don't know why I got a piece that was bigger because I got gauge, but then my piece ended up being different, and they're like confused. People are confused about that. And I've had to think about it a lot being a designer, why that happens, and for myself, but I know that gauge is not a constant thing. You're not knitting every single stitch at the exact same gauge just because you used the needle size that when you made your swatch gave you the pattern gauge. Gauge changes depending on how you feel and depending on what time of day. And I think also probably depending on how long you've been knitting. I think my gauge probably gets tighter the more hours I spend because I'm gripping harder. So if someone gets gauge and when they make a swatch and they start a pattern, there will be variations within the fabric that you make that won't be exact, and you'll have differences of size, which is why we buy, sometimes it's recommended to buy an extra skein for something, or when you design a pattern, you give buffer yarn. So we recommend the amount of yarn we used plus 10%, roughly. I mean, not every single designer does this because there's a lot of things about knit design that are really mysterious. That there's a lot of unknowns, and people don't necessarily talk about it as transparently as they could. And so a lot of things are designers sort of figure things out. Maybe talk to each other if you have other designer friends. Maybe talk to their tech editors about it. But a lot of stuff remains sort of mysterious. And so I didn't know that the buffer was 10% until recently. I heard another designer say that, 10%. But I did give a buffer. And I don't remember how, for all my other patterns, I have given a buffer yarn. I just don't remember how much it is. So I would, personally, if I was knitting from a pattern, I would never buy the exact yardage required. I would always get a little bit more. And hopefully, your skein, there's skeins that you're buying, the math works out where you're not buying an entire extra skein just in case, but you need a little bit of that skein, and then you have all of it if you do need it. I always have to buy extra because I'm tall, I have a longer torso, I have longer arms, I have longer neck, and so I need to make my sweaters a little bigger. So I usually buy an extra skein or two. I've been known to buy a second extra skein just in case something doesn't work out. And that can be expensive, can be, pushing it out of people's budgets if they have to buy an extra skein. And so it's definitely a consideration. It's definitely something to think about. But that is why you probably will never not your whole piece that you make will not have the same gauge in every square inch. It will be different, and so you will probably get slight variations. If you've ever seen in a pattern where it says how do they state it? For differences in yarn, due to differences in gauge, you may want to buy an extra skein or something. I can't remember any particular pattern I've seen that in. There's usually if you're going to make a piece longer, you need to buy more yarn. This is a recommendation for this exact size. And if it's going to end up being bigger, you need to buy more yarn. It's just something to consider. I didn't know that straight out the gate as a beginning knitter. I had learned that when I would gauge swatch. And I would look at my work and go, oh, over here I'm doing, 21.5 stitches per 4 inches, and over here I'm doing 23. And what do you do with that? Well, that's why knitting is why we use wool, because wool is forgiving. And so you do your best calculations possible, and then you hope for the best, and you get better at it the more you knit. So nothing to panic about. It's just part of it. Is there anything else I can tell you about this lovely squishy pattern? There is a reel on my Instagram on different ways to wear it. The basic everyday would be all the tassels in the front, lots of squishy layers around the neck. Yeah, I feel like it looks really good this way. I love all the tassels. You can kind of do the point in the middle, or you can do it off to the center. Bring that other tassel from the back forward, and you can kind of tuck that over your shoulder. That's nice. And then when I'm cold at home, which is a lot of the time that I wear shawls and hand knits, is over the shoulders, folded in half, and then over the shoulders this way, which I like how the lines become vertical when I do like this. And then I discovered taking photographs that if I flip the top tassel forward with this is sort of like a fourth, and then I can put that over like a blanket. I think I showed this in one of my previous episodes too. That the tassel will hang right at the back, which is just really cute. I got some good photographs of it looking like that. So yeah, and it's very cozy to knit, especially right now. It's finally getting a little chilly. The bigger your shawl is, the cozier it is on your lap, and you basically create a lap blanket. I might keep this one by the couch in the coming weeks and months, just to put over my legs in the evening. And yeah, keep it by the door when I'm heading out. I do have a wax and wool candle burning this afternoon. I do have a pumpkin spice, which I believe are still for sale. It's a really nice one. It's not overly sweet and not overly strong, so it doesn't get cloying at all. It's very cozy. And I did get a couple more tassels from the MarKit. And I can link below to the website. This is, I think, my favorite one so far, the little pink head. And they're just so cute. This is like 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. And I can't wait to attach it to the next project I work on. And then I got a little brown and green one. And they also came with these little stitch markers. So this is this little cup that I was really excited to get with little spots on it. And a little bead. That one's cute too. So it's a really sweet company. The packaging is beautiful, and it's hard not to buy them. I think these are my 4th and 5th ones that I've gone. And I have earrings too. But anyway, I finished the big secret project. I do have to block it a little bit, and then I can move on. That means I have only 2 whips. They're both old. One's super old, one's from last year, my ghost horses, which I popped on my Instagram again recently. to say, no, I haven't forgotten about you. I will come for you soon. And then I also have another colorwork project called the Happy Glamper. And those mittens are coming along. I did work on them quite a bit this week, so they're really cute. Maybe I'll grab them really quickly. I forgot. I have actually something I can show. Amazing. So here's the trailer. You can see with the door and the wheel. It's even got like a little tow hitch, like, oh, over the side, right there. Pathway, little trees. This is a fire and the smoke coming up. So this is the back of the hand. And then the palm and the thumb right here. I've made a couple mistakes. I was really tired and I kept insisting on working on it. I didn't need to be, but I had to rip back because the camper wasn't looking like a camper. It was looking really indistinguishable, and there were some significant points that I had missed didn't do right, so it didn't look like it should. So I took back maybe like 5 rows or something, and then there's a couple spots on the diagonal lines in the back of the hand that I'm not. There's like one of them's right here. Is not where. But thank goodness for duplicate stitch, because I can, before blocking probably, but after I finish, I can take a little thread of yarn and I can just cover up those bits with some black yarn and reposition them. So if I get too many of those, I start to feel like my project is getting out of hand, like I'm making mistakes and being like sort of sloppy, but a couple is really no big deal. So it looks always so good on camera. It's always good to photograph color work, send it to your knitting friends, because they'll always be impressed with your work. Yeah. Maybe I'll finish these this week, and then I do need to like start something new ASAP. I just don't know what it is going to be yet. I released Meridian Lines today, so I'm going to do a lot of internet marketing. I'm going to write emails, and make Instagram posts, and make Instagram reels and Instagram stories, and getting all the photos up on my website and Ravelry, and finishing the pattern, and taking all my testers' comments into consideration, and making changes, getting your link tree, that your profile link to be set up right. What else did I do? Facebook ad, like all these different things that all have to come in together at the same time. And I feel like I want a little bit more on the design process. I did a better job this time of not over packing the 2 days before. I did less stuff Monday and Tuesday, and I'm going to do a little bit like every day. Like I have, I think, what do I have to do today? A couple more stories to do today, but that's it. And then I need a post for tomorrow and some stories for tomorrow. But like there have been times where I've like, I do everything beforehand, because I thought, well, I'll do everything beforehand, then I won't be stressed out about the release. And I think I don't really need to do that anymore, because I'm not as stressed out about the release. It used to be like a big emphasis on, I'm only going to make sales in the first few days, and so I have to do all this stuff, and actually I make sales every month, so it doesn't matter so much if I get a lot of attention when I release a pattern, because I can make sales on that pattern for a long time to come, and that takes all the stress off, and all of like I have felt today like I've forgotten about it. It's happened, like, oh yeah, I released it today. Oh yeah, and part of that is because I released the pattern on Ravelry the night before. I didn't tell anybody about it, but it was up there. And I made the promotion codes and made those live the night before, and I put them on my website the night before. So that it's that's done, and I don't have to think about that. So when I woke up this morning, all I had to do was post the feed and the stories, and that's it. The emails were already set to go. So it just feels a lot less intense. And that's the best thing. Yeah. could ask for. So anyway, you can get Meridian Lines on Ravelry and at victoriouswool.com if you don't use Ravelry. The victoriouswool.com link that you get is good for 24 hours, so you have to download it right away. And what else? There's a coupon code. Oh yeah, there's this important thing. There's a coupon code. I probably should have mentioned this immediately. There's a coupon code that's different than the one on Instagram for subscribers. So if you are a Victoria's Wool subscriber, we'll put it right there. What the code is, and it's going to last from today, which is the 22nd of September, to a week from now, which is the 29th. So you have a whole week that you can purchase it, and the public code on Ravelry is only good through Friday. So that's an extra thank you to both YouTube subscribers and my newsletter subscribers that you get a little bit more of a discount and you get to use the code for longer. Yeah, and always use the hashtag Victorious Wool if you want me to see your works in progress on Instagram. And you can subscribe to my channel and like the video. And turn on your notifications. Subscribing is helpful because it helps other knitters find the podcast, and a lot of new people have come on since I started recording again. Started back up at the beginning of August after more than a year of break, and it's just been going really well. I've been enjoying doing it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.